Hey everyone, welcome back to Little Shop of Nerds. I'm Mike.
I'm Julia.
Today, St. Jules.
It's Aliens.
Today we're going to be talking about movies from the 90s
1996.
called Independence Day, which is going to be our theme for this video, since this video will be coming out on July 4th, meaning everybody's going to be celebrating our greatest nation pastime. And yet people complain a lot about it because we took everything.
Yeah, so, as you know, Friday, which is today, is Independence Day. So, if you guys are out and about, be careful. Don't blow your fingers off with firecrackers.
If you're going to drink...
Don't stick them up your ass either.
Or a bullfrog's ass.
Yeah, don't do anything bad with the firecrackers.
And
you were going to say?
If you're going to drink, just stay at home. Don't go anywhere. And don't fucking drive.
If you do drink and you're out and about, make sure you have a designated driver.
Or call a fucking Uber. I don't know why we have to tell these people.
Yeah, like call a friend, call an Uber, taxi, whatever. Just don't drink and drive because it's not worth it to risk your life and the lives of others.
And also make sure you pay the bartender. Cheap ass.
Tip them.
Fuck, man.
Because they have to deal with your dumb ass, so tip them.
Or if you're that cheap, just buy your own booze and just stay home.
Exactly. So, like we said, we're going to be talking about the movie Independence Day. Because today is Independence Day. So, I came up with that, that idea to do an Independence Day themed movie for Independence Day. So, I don't know about y'all, but whenever I think of Independence Day, I think of this song by Martina McBride called Independence Day. And that's about talking about how her mom, I think, killed her dad. Or killed their dad or something. I don't know. You should go listen to it. It's a good song, even though it's country. But I digress. Okay, so it starts off with...
you're showing the moon where the Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin landed on the moon. The plaque showing they landed here. And before you Reddit conspiracy it's nuts, put it in the comments. We landed on the moon. It wasn't fake. If you don't believe me, watch Neil deGrasse Tyson's theory on it. All right.
I mean, it is kind of weird that no one else has gone to the moon since then.
Well, it's also kind of weird that we still got people up in the
space station.
Yeah.
Okay, what about it?
I'm just saying, if it's not real, why we still got people in space? I'm just saying.
But I'm just saying that it's weird that we haven't gone to the moon again, or no one has been to the moon since we've been there.
Look at our...
I'm not saying that we didn't land on the moon. All I'm saying is that it's weird that they haven't been back since then.
Maybe they can't get funded. Look at our economic situation.
Look what they just did with Katy Perry and all those other women when they just went up into the atmosphere for like 5 minutes and said that they went to space.
Yeah, but look at that. They'll find money and people will donate. But then again, this is also government work. You know how much fucking government is charging us just like a 6-pack toilet paper? $8. Who pays $8 for toilet paper? That's a 6-pack.
I mean, if you want to get one of the bigger packs, it's like $20.
See?
Yeah. But I don't think that's the government. That's the companies.
It doesn't matter.
I definitely think the government should step in on some of this.
We pay taxes. We pay taxes on food. Because think, if a pop is $1.89, $2.89, we have to pay, say, a 10 cents tax. Say you're paying a 20-some cent tax, it's $3.
Well, before we get political, which we said we would never do on this channel, let's move away from that. Okay, so it starts off, you see the plaque on the moon, and then there's this guy, he's like in some sort of lab, and it's just him, and he's like playing golf, like just hitting a ball around. And he gets like a notification, or he hears something that doesn't sound right. And so he calls his boss, and then they realize that it could possibly be, they weren't sure at the time what it could be.
Well, they thought,
right?
Someone thought it could have been just like a satellite or something, whatever it was, making that noise. But they realized the sound was coming from the moon, and then it cuts to what David with his.
Yeah, he's with his dad, and David is played by Jeff Goldblum.
And his dad's played by Judge Hirsch, from your, if any boomers are out there.
Yeah, so they're playing chess, and he's talking about how David is still wearing his wedding ring even though him and his wife have been separated for like three years, and he ends up he leaves, rides his bike over to the place where he works, which it looks like he also works in some sort of like telecommunications thing for like outer space or something. I'm assuming. And the guy that played
his boss was.
No, I don't think it was his boss. I think it was one of his. I think it was somebody that worked under him because I think he was the boss.
Well, either way, it was Harvey Fierstein. You might know him from Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
And it's Fierstein, not Weinstein. I don't know how people can mix that up.
Yeah. So, he's telling him about it. David is very like planet conscious because he, has like recycling bins set up and everything like that. And we will get into it more on like how he is, but as we get further on. But he starts picking up. He starts realizing that this isn't what they think it is, but he's not quite sure what it is. And then we see the president. He's in bed. Looks like it's probably early morning. His wife calls. And, he starts off his day. And his aide, I'm assuming, is what she is. She actually turns out to be David's wife. So,
yep.
There's some history there. But then you just see like this big cloud, like over the world, in different places of the world. So like there was one, I think they said in Russia and
Israel, pretty much. There was one in California and everything.
In New York, in Washington D.C. I think they also got Houston, and they were just I think the first places that they hit when we find out that they're aliens was New York, Los Angeles, and Washington D.C.
Yep.
So they do eventually find out that they're aliens, and there's one guy named Russell Case, and he's played by
Randy Quaid.
Randy Quaid, yeah. And he has been mocked for the last 10 years because he got abducted by aliens and they did experiments on him and nobody believes him.
Yeah, but he said this was he said it was done 10 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, and he said it was 10 years before the beginning of this movie.
And I'm like, it'll get more complicated, but I think it was different aliens, but or he can just been hitting back the sauce too much.
But he's a crop duster, and he has 3 children. So they just kind of, you see the aliens appear. Everybody's realizing that the aliens appear. David doesn't pick up the fact that they're going to attack until much later. And he was trying to get the president, or he was trying to get to the president, let the president know that this is what's going on and that they need to start evacuating the cities. But the cities didn't get evacuated in time. And Los Angeles got attacked. New York got attacked, and then the Washington D.C. got attacked.
Yeah.
Will Smith is in this movie too. He plays a military guy.
He's part of the Marines, and he's also a fighter pilot. And I'm like, wait. And I was like looking at this whole movie, just like thinking about it, and I'm like, shouldn't have been like. I'm like, does the Marines have does the Marines teach you how to fly fighter jets or something? Because I always thought that was Air Force. Because like I said, I don't know much about
Do
military.
you want me to look it up while we're... If you want to keep talking.
All right, like I said, Will Smith plays a guy named Steve. He's pretty much, like I said, he's in the Marines. He's going back to base. Turns out his relief was canceled because of the aliens, because of the mothership flying saucer, and his girlfriend slash fiance, or kinda, didn't like it, so she told him, grab your son and meet me at the base when you're ready. And he's back at the base. He's talking to one of his friends who's pretty much, a jokester. And
there was a scene where he was like down on his knee for something, and he was holding the ring that Steven had gotten for his girlfriend, and the guy thought that he was proposing to him.
He's like, hey, you ever heard of don't ask, don't tell?
Yeah. So, it does say here, yes, the U.S. Marine Corps does fly fighter jets. Specifically, they operate the F-350B or 35B Lightning II, the FA-18 Hornet, and the AV-8B Harrier, among other aircraft. Marine Corps aviation, known as the Air Combat Element, is integral to the Marine Air Ground Task Force, the MAGTF. So yes, they do fly fighter jets, because I think Steven was trying to get into NASA, but they told him that, like, I guess he wasn't good enough to get
wasn't
NASA.
qualified. And I guess his friend mentioned that his girlfriend was a stripper, and I'm like, why not?
Yeah. So you see her dancing, and she realizes that no one's really paying attention. So she was just like, well, I'm going to go. And her friend, one of the other girls, was going to go up to meet the aliens. And she tells her not to because she has her name's Jasmine, by the way, the stripper. She says she had a bad feeling about it and not to go, and the girl was like, okay, I won't go. Well, she ends up going anyway. So,
Yeah.
Of course, when the aliens attack, she died.
Yeah, and, David, him and his father goes to New York, go to Washington, go to his ex-wife, and they said the attack will start in 6 hours, and I'm like, how's this how did they get there in time? It's like mostly impossible. If everyone's evacuating, they could have gone into traffic jams. And I'm like,
I mean, if people were trying to get out of, okay, I could see there being an issue trying to get out of New York, but trying to get into Washington, D.C. probably would have been a bit easier because everybody's leaving from Washington, D.C. and no one's going in.
Yeah, that's true, but leaving New York that's like bigger than Washington.
Yeah, because by the time that they left, people were already starting to flee.
Yeah, and I'm like, how's that? And it's like, and how they got into the plane and everything exploded, and yet I'm like, how's that even possible?
Yeah, so when the aliens attacked, they blew up the tallest building in DC, or not in DC, Los Angeles and New York. And lots of people died. So Jasmine and her son and their dog were and her dog's name is Boomer. They were on their way to go meet Steven, I think, at the base, or they were just trying to get out of the city. But they got stuck in a traffic jam, and they saw the explosion from the city, getting attacked. So they quickly got out of their car, and they got into this little maintenance room, where they should have probably shut the fucking door, but they didn't. But they all were, Yeah, so when the fire was going by and the dog jumped into the room with him, did you see, like, the CG effect that they used for that?
Yeah, you can tell it was bullshit.
Yeah.
See, 90s CGI was still ineffective, so...
I mean, it was good for what it was at the time.
So, yeah, it was good during the time.
But now that we're older and we have better CGI...
It starts to get even.
You can kind of tell.
Yeah. And besides that, they do survive. You see after the wreckage, Jasmine does go around with, a maintenance truck and pick up survivors. And one of the survivors was the president's wife.
Yeah, and the president was concerned that they hadn't heard from her. So what they had attacked in Washington, D.C. was the White House. And so some of the aides, I think it was the vice president that was left behind, and a lot of the workers had died as they exploded. Because in case you guys didn't know, the president never flies with the vice president. They always fly separately in case of an attack. So then if the president gets attacked, then the vice president is still safe, or if the vice president gets attacked, the president is still safe. So in case you guys didn't know, they do always travel separately. The royal family also does this, just because, if one person dies that's in line for the throne, then, they have someone that's still alive that can.
Well, after all that, Will Smith's scene, him and his comrade buddies go try to shoot down the flying saucer. Didn't work because they have force fields. Mm-hmm. Ironic. And what was it? Most of them died. The military base got blown up by the alien scouts.
The alien scouts had attacked El Toro, I think is what it was called. So he does manage to get the one. They had like two on their tail because it was him and his friend. His friend ended up dying. And then he managed to kill or to destroy one, and then he got the other one to crash. He goes over, and he's pissed because he's out in the middle of the desert. And he goes over, and the space or the little scout ship opened up, and he just punches the alien. And eventually, he's like trekking through the desert, and he goes, "What is that smell?" And he turns around, and he just goes over, and he just starts kicking the alien because he's dragging the alien along behind him in his parachute.
Yeah, and back on, Air Force One, they're telling, like, David Stats saying about Area 51, and the president's like, okay, look, I don't think that it doesn't exist, so, and the guy who used to be part of the CIA, he's like,
he was the Secretary of Defense.
He's like, not quite, and I'm like,
even the military guy looked surprised that.
Yeah, and I'm like, once they get there, the president's like, if this was here, why didn't I not know about it? He's like, what's it called? Pronounceable deniability? Whatever.
Something like that, yeah.
And I'm like, see, it proves that the government doesn't tell the president everything.
Yeah. So they end up, they're looking at the aliens, and they see the alien spaceship and everything like that. And then Steven shows up because he got picked up by
Randy Quaid's character.
Yeah, Robert Russell Case and his little caravan. They end up picking him up, and they took him to Area 51
with a bunch of people.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the raid on Area 51 from 2019 all over again.
Never happened though. They just
had like a little party outside of Area 51. I don't know if any of you remember that, but I remember that because we had some of the best memes out of that.
Yeah.
Like, it was great.
Well, I bet you they couldn't. Because one, in that little area, they do have guard. If it's one, I don't.
I mean, it is a military base.
Yeah, it's a military base. So, truth be told, if there's top secret stuff, it's just stuff for the military that doesn't want to be out yet. Aliens, I don't know. I don't think so. But if there is,
I believe in aliens. I think Mike's one. Mike's an alien.
but besides that, I don't know. I think that, like I said, it is a military base. They're trained to kill on sight if you try to go over.
Yeah. So,
Sorry, unalive.
they did. So, Steven ended up, like, borrowing a helicopter. Because I think he wanted to see that his base was destroyed for himself. Well, that's where Jasmine and all of the survivors that she picked up were. So then they were able to get them all back to the base, Area 51, safely. But the president's wife was too far gone. They couldn't stop her internal bleeding, so she ended up passing away. And then Steven and Jasmine finally get married. And it also looked like that David and I don't even remember her. I can't remember her name. But David and the president's aide, it does look like that they were going to reconcile. So there was a part though where they tried to blow up the
main.
No, it wasn't the main one. It was the one over Houston. They tried to destroy it with a nuclear.
Didn't work.
Yeah, still didn't work.
And yet, I'm like, I see this little thing. I'm like, make sure if it got destroyed, and I'm like, how are they not dead? Even I'm like, that thing could still explode of the heat, and that one guy could have been blind after the thing went off. I'm like, a flash from an atomic blast make you go, how does this make sense?
Yeah. So then David figures out that they could possibly give the mothership a virus that will go to that would go to all of the ships on Earth to take down their shields.
And you ever think when David was making the virus, you ever thought he had to use a lot of porn sites just to give it a virus? I think that's funny if it did.
You know, you can write viruses without going to porn sites, right?
And it wouldn't be that much fun if it wasn't.
Well, we know what Mike does. What Mike looks at all the time, apparently. If he's bringing up corn unprovoked. I hope bites off your finger one of these days.
I hope someone. I'm not going there.
Mm-hmm. So, he this one guy to shoot this Coke can that they put in the spaceship. Well, he shot it. Well, it bounced off the
shield.
The force field. Then he uploaded the virus, and then the shield was gone. He was able to shoot it. So now they're trying to get like enough people to help, fight off the. Now they have to do. They're getting people to help.
Which they're looking for pilots, which is I can't believe it. Most of them are crop dusters or private, private pilots waiting.
Yeah, Russell also volunteered. So
somehow he sobered up real quick, and I'm like,
I mean, you could sober up with coffee. So they probably did was they probably just pumped him full of coffee.
Yeah.
So Steven and David got the mission to go up into space and they successfully do get docked with the mothership, and he was able to upload it. And the first time that they try to shoot at the spaceships on Earth, the virus hadn't fully taken effect yet, so it didn't work. Then they tried a second time, and then it did work, and it was able to hit. And oh yeah, the president was also flying a jet
because he used to be a fighter pilot in the Gulf War.
Yeah, so they do end up blowing up. They ended up having to blow up the mothership because just they almost didn't survive, David and Steven. And then Russell, they were going to blow up Area 51. The aliens were, but Russell flew his plane up into it, and then it exploded.
Yeah, because he had the last missile and got up to the laser support, whatever it is.
The thing that blows everything up.
Yeah, and it worked, and he dies, everyone dies, and I'm like, okay.
Not everybody dies.
Most everyone dies.
Not everybody that was that was in a bunker at Area 51.
Yeah, they survived. Anyways, most people survived, some died, and you see around the world all the saucers are dying, and pretty much everyone got their fireworks, and happy ending.
Yeah, David and Steven did survive.
Yeah, and then after that, you would think that would be the last of the Independence Day movie. No, years later they made a second one.
Yeah, which I don't know if we will talk about the second one.
I don't know, because I heard it was terrible.
Well, yeah, from what they said about Resurgence, which was the one that came out in 2016, critics gave it a 29%, and the audience gave it a 30%. Now, for the one that we just talked about today, the one from 1996, the critics gave it a 68%, but the audience gave it a 75%. So normally, when stuff like this comes out on Rotten Tomatoes, I always try to look to see, because I would rather see what the audience says rather than the critics. Because the critics will say something like, oh, this is really good. But then the audience is just like, nah, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, I agree, because it was like, when they Shape of Water, right? When it came out, the critics says it was so good, they give it a 90. When I watch it, I'm like, so it's about a woman fucking the fish from the Black Lagoon.
I mean, who knows? But, yeah, so, anyways, that's how it ends. Everybody has a happy ending, whether we watch Resurgence or not. I don't know. I've actually been wanting to see it, but after seeing the score, I don't really know if I want to.
If we do, we could just look at it as in, we can just watch it out of curiosity, but we might not do a review on it.
If you guys want us to do a review on it, we will.
If people watch the long videos.
Yeah. So, I'm going to go ahead and give you next week's hint, which is going to be Snidget. So, I'm going to see how many of you figure that out, what we're going to do. So, we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.